Hey there, boys and girls of the YouTube world. Today, the Duff Dog and I are going to see if we can't get a 1978 Chevrolet ramp truck back on the road for the first time in 7 years. That's right, it's -4 degrees here in Podunk, North Dakota. I just spent the last 2 hours outside shoveling snow around this thing, off of this thing, pushing this thing around with the Bobcat. Broke a chain. I gotta go find that in the yard yet. And yeah, now we got it inside. We're gonna let this thing thaw out, and we're gonna go back in time when we got this thing, when it was so much more glorious outside. All right, well, you guys watch that. Duff and I are gonna go out in the dark, try to find the rest of our chain. Here we go. So a local subscriber reached out to me, said he used to use this thing to haul his race car around, hasn't had it on the road since 2016. We got out of the race car stuff and looking to clear out the yard, so let's take a look at this thing. So it's a 78, it's got the round headlights, one of the last years of that. It's got the visor, chicken chasers. It's been about every color underneath the sun. No white letters, but we do have some chrome lug nuts. Running boards, red interior. Oh, we're gonna have to get some tow mirrors for this hog. Seat's actually pretty decent. She's a 4-speed and a column shift, so all the goodies. Radio's gone, those must be lights for the chicken chasers. Got the bed on the back, got the rack on the roof for our spare tires. I think it's got the same worn winch as we've got on the other ramp truck. It's got a 350 4-speed, ran when parked, of course. What's under there? Check it out. But yeah, we just need another ramp truck. So we're gonna load this thing up and see if we can't get it running. Here we go. What do you think, Duff? You gonna finally check it out? Any critters under there? How's it look? Cross members in good shape? The structural integrity? Oh yeah. Oh no, glass packs? Dang it. What a deal. Hopefully the diff cover is at least painted orange. Oh, it's chrome! It's chrome in a can, what a deal. Way to spot that, Duff. So it looks like when we were pulling her up, the beaver tail kind of did some land planing back here, so that gave us a little struggle. It hadn't been sitting here too long. She hadn't sunk in too awful far, so let's get her packed up, head down the road. We should probably strap down some of these goodies back here. What a deal. We got like $4,000 worth of 4x4s here. Do we get to keep those? If you want them, you can have them. What a deal. We'll put up a fence, Duff, for you. All right, let's get her tied down and hit the dusty trail, huh, Duff? Well, as you can tell from the puddle, we're getting her a little thawed out here. I don't know if we did a walk around at the previous owner's place, but this thing hasn't been tagged since 11 of 15. He said these front tires were new shortly before he parked it. Duff, where is the code on them? Can you find the code? They're M&S for mud and snow. Everybody likes to remind me of that. Oh, they're Ironmans. Cue the music that we can't play because it's copyright infringement. We don't want to get demonetized, right? It's got these cool simulators that have the bow tie on them. That's pretty neat.
That's pretty neat.
Where's the code? S734. No luck finding the code. Either way, they got to come off because they leak on the beads. And I tried sealing them up once. We're going to take them off. We're going to run them to job erection in town, and we're going to get them blasted. And then we'll prime them and paint them back up because I hate flat tires, and I had to pump both of these up just to get it in here. But I'm guessing they're like 2013 or 2014 tires, which is already 8 years old. But we don't need them leaking anymore, so we're gonna get them patched up. The old door, I don't know, somebody painted it with a brush or something. And not even a good brush paint job. She's coming loose. Would have been pretty neat in this baby blue. And I think she was orange or red before that. Maybe even a dark blue at one point in there. She's identified as a lot of colors. It's got the reverse mullet on the front. Definitely had a Harley owner with the Tribal Flames tramp stamp thing at one time or another. Crack in the windshield. Aftermarket chicken chasers. I don't know what these screws are about, but they're completely missing the light. Yeah, and then the wire running across the top. Nothing but the finest. Oh yeah, and then paint right over the wire. Good stuff. Doesn't have tow mirrors, which is kind of surprising. Doors came open too far. Got the door and the fender. Running boards. Oh, they're not as unsolid as I've ever seen, but ooh, they even got the lights, the running board lights. Dang. Somebody has since taken off the door guard thingers. It's got this neat little rack up top for the tires. I'm guessing there's a bar that you slide through there to keep them from falling off. I don't know. Ray Charles not only painted this vehicle, but Ronnie Millsap helped him do the welding on a lot of this. Oh my gosh. Just stacking the worms there. Wowza. I'm guessing this was a roll bar off of like a Blazer or something, because here's where the kickers would have been at one time. I don't know. Or maybe it's just well pipe. Who knows? Came with a toolbox. Oh. And some mice. We'll let Five sleep in there. Twisted Tea's getting wild. Ugh. And the worst light beer ever. It's so bad they couldn't even spell light properly. Oh, there's the winch control. Oh man, that is putrid in there. There's the controller for the winch. It came with this Ollie. Oh, it's a spread bore. That's pretty neat. Looks like she's been awful warm though. We'll throw it on the shelf for parts. Got some tie down points. It's kind of halfway open under there. I noticed when I was shoveling the snow off and I fell through. It's got that same, I think it's a what, like 8274, 8261 Warren winch as our other ramp truck has. They're a little bit fast, but they're pretty heavy duty and you can get a lot of parts and they're collectible. Again, more tie down points each side. Fuel filler next in a super awkward spot. So the reason I kind of wanted this thing is the bed is pretty close in length to what I need for the 53 Ford cab over thing that we're building. And I want to make a ramp truck out of that, but we'll see. Maybe this thing's going to be way too good to steal the bed off of. I'm guessing this thing started life as a 1978 C30 cab and chassis. We'll get it up on the hoist and we'll check the frame, see if it's been stretched or modified. I'm guessing it's probably been stretched. I don't know if they made the 1 tons in this long a wheelbase, but who knows. He did say he had brand new leaf springs made for this thing right before he parked it as well. So put new tires, new leaf springs on it. So it's got some good parts on it. Again, simulators in the back. Oh yeah, sure enough, the Iron Man's in the back. He said he took down a fence or was putting up a fence or whatever. He's like, oh, you want to throw those away? I'm like, no, that's like $1,000 worth of lumber. So heck yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do with that. The bed is in pretty sad shape there. This is just kind of like a area to walk on. The wheels never go out any wider than this, depending on what you're hauling. It's got this ratcheting tie down system here too that we might have to figure out how to use. It's got some aluminum ramps. I don't like how they don't slide in anywhere, but they just kind of sit up there. Got some different type of tread plate up front, diamond plate in the back that's been rotted out and patched. There must be something that pins that slide through there to hold the ramps in. I don't know. And then they had some, I don't know, 3/4 inch big heavy duty plate back here at some time. I'm sure the taillights work just fine. It looks all right from the side in the dark. You know what I'm saying? All right, we got all kinds of landscaping stuff here. This tire held air slightly longer than the ones that were on it, but not much better. Ooh. Oh, this is, I bet, the... is that what holds the wheels in? Oh yeah, there we go. That goes up there. Must have had some bracket on another toolbox or something here. Who knows? I'm guessing this probably goes... Oh yeah. Let's put that in there before we lose it. What a deal. Fwanger. Ooh, even some expanded metal. God, the only thing we need left is some rebar. You know, we got well pipe, expanded metal, aluminum diamond plate, steel diamond plate, deck plate, you name it. It's all here. She's been modified a few times. There was some round tubing there, there, and there. If this thing could talk. It's pretty dry. The cab corners and rockers are all there. Bottoms of the fenders are there. How about the cups? Oh yeah, not bad. She's got a few whiskey dents up here. And it's got some giant fender washers holding the marker lights in. And it's got these cute visors over the headlights. Grill surround's busted. Bow tie's about ready to fall off. Duff! Gonna open the hood? Oh yeah, that tire went flat in the day it's been in here. You gonna get her? What do we got going on under here, Duff? Looks like it's got a little tiny Deca dual terminal top and side post battery that's sitting the wrong way, but it's held down with some nice 1/4-inch plate, so that ain't going nowhere. There's the dark blue. It's a non-AC rig. It does have hydro boost. It doesn't have a big block. What's with this thing on the firewall for lining up the hood? This is missing the bracket for it, but was that an option or what? Looks like the ginormous carb stud has contacted the hood. It's got what I believe an edelbrock 1406. Yep. So that would be a 600 CFM, I believe, electric choke. It's got a pretty newish alternator. It's a Reman. Obviously, it's got power steering because that's what's going to run your hydro boost. Fan shroud has been modified by some nice red duct tape and some aluminum riveted in, all of the good stuff. No headers, thankfully. A terrible tiny little chrome air cleaner that's the filter is too big for the lid, so that's good. She ain't froze up. I'm guessing it's got a turbo 400 HEI. Again, way too long a carb stud there. That's fine. You don't need to tie that to anything. Nice inline fuel filter, some super stiff fuel hose, oversized washer holding the ultimatator bracket on. Nothing but the finest going on over here. I mean, what more would you expect from a race car guy? Grommets missing for the speedo cable. They just painted over everything when they painted it. Nice. The squirter hoses are missing for the washer, which the washer tank has been cut open and modified as a fecal matter for the rodents. So yeah, easy peasy lemon squeezy. I'm gonna get this thing lifted up in the air. Hopefully we got her centered up, and hopefully my 12,000 pound lift will lift this thing. We're gonna get those wheels off and get them blasted so we can hopefully get them back at a decent time today and get some tires back on it, because we're gonna have her running today, right? I don't see why not. All right, rims are at the sandblaster, so let's take a look at this thing. Looks like she's got the great big heavy duty sway bar. Unfortunately, somebody pulling it around with the skid steer, this guy, screwed up that bracket, so we'll have to keep an eye out for one of those. Ooh, looks like they riveted some steel or aluminum to the bottom side of the shroud as well. That's convenient right there. Apparently we got a front seal leak going on there. I think they said it's a 350, but who knows? Could be a 305, could be a 400. It's got the big harmonic balancer, so I'm assuming it's probably a 350 like they said. Disc brakes, like all the square bodies got. Look at this exhaust. Oh, that is like a 1/4-inch stud. They should be 3/8. Let me guess, it's a bolt going all the way through. No? Oh, it's a carriage bolt. Wow. That's pretty cool. You know, I said earlier the Turbo 400. Yeah, I totally forgot this is a 4-speed. So I think it's a SM 465. Splice there, splice there, splice there on the exhaust. Some number 9 wire back there for Quick Dick McDick.
This is Quick Dick McDick reminding you, a man will never get tired of pulling on his number 9 wire.
And first splice is right here. Yeah, that's a nice porcupine of weld going on there. A couple of clamps with a reducer, some mechanics wire. I don't know that bend was completely necessary, but it's there. Was this a hanger? I don't know. Another clamp. I'm guessing there's a splice. Some more mechanics wire. Oh, apparently we're plugging off. Whoops. B&R45. Apparently we're using our old Delco plugs to plug off some fuel lines. Oh, look, they did her again right there. Oh, that's an auto light though. Oh my gosh. There's must be a shut-off valve. They must have had more tanks than one. He did say that there's a new tank, so I believe he's right. A little rot down in the... They must have put new outer rockers on it, because they look pretty good out there. Cab support's a little soft. Rubbers are blowed out. You don't want to deal with blowed out rubber. Park brake cable, yeah, that's hosed too. Ooh, floors, a little soft. Okay, let's be honest. This cab is hot garbage. Oh look, there's a chain coming through the cab corner down here. That's nice. Have a hook on it. Oh yeah, it does have a hook. What a deal! Come on now. Oh, B2 hooks. Come on. Did we win the lottery? Nope. Just one hook. On a positive note, when I was out in the snow last night, I did find the chain for that and fixed her all up good, so we got 2 hooks again. All right, back to this thing. Looks like we got one hanger there. It's in pretty good shape. What is that a battery cable? Just looped through that hole with nothing protected. Oh, hopefully that's not hooked up to anything, because oh my gosh. And then we got our ground back here. I'm guessing that's the winch stuff. I mean, they attempted a hanger. You know, it still identifies as a hanger because the mechanics wire is going through it, right? I guess. We got another hanger here. Oh, that one's not quite as tight. I like how the exhaust just shoots right into that cross member. You know, don't even put a turn down on it. This one's slightly below it. Wonder where they stretch the... Oh, yep. There's where the frame is spliced. Yeah, there you go. See, they got it overlapped there and there. And they just kind of slid it in right there. And then this is back to... Yeah, they must have stretched her about 3 feet right there. Oofta. Cross member in the bed floor is gone. Oh, they really made this nice and intricate. It looks like it should be some type of hand railing, you know, that twisted wrought iron. Good stuff. Oh yeah, that bed is seen better days. Oh, they used to have the exhaust coming out over here. That was way good. That was in its previous life. Pinion seal, looks like she's weeped a little bit. Apparently the shock is rusted out. Drum brakes on the rear. It's got the same I Am Iron Man tires on the rear, which are in good shape, so that was worth the purchase.
Kill power.
Well, I guess this shock is still doing better than this shock because his pet's head fell off.
Our pets' heads are falling off!
And there's the new springs he was talking about. Oh, that's why that shock's gone, because the upper shock mount is gone. This thing just keeps getting better. Chrome painted diff cover. Clearly a Votecker was operating this thing at one point. Chrome gets you home. Oh boy, more nice frame splices. That's just some angle iron. Nice heavy C-channel, I mean. Not so nice a welds holding it though. Real good. Another rusty crossmember. Was something going on here? It almost looks like maybe they had brackets under here for the ramps. Yeah, probably not. But she's all gussied up back here. They even pie cut her down and pinched that C-channel. There's that rust in the bed floor. Did the same thing over here, just pie cut it, squeezed her up. Their math was not quite so good there though. They got a gap. They could have filled that. Just kidding, whoever was welding this couldn't fill crap. They must have had a hitch on her because they gussied her up for a hitch and then the hitch was no more. So I don't know, guessing the lights probably aren't working. Oops, not after I tore that ground off. My bad. So we got a little work to do there. Overall, yeah, I give her a C minus. Seen worse. Exhaust is screwed, cab's hosed. That bed is needs a lot to be desired. We need a shock. We need a shock, and we need the brackets for a shock. We got shocking news back there. Oh, this cross member is pretty chewy too. Looks like somebody's put a new brake line on it. Oh. I think we need another new brake line. Yeah. How about that? Oh, this thing must have been in Minnesota. All right. Furnace is coming on. We're gonna put this thing on the ground, and I think first thing we're gonna do is drain the fuel out of the tank, or at least bypass it and get it running, and then we'll drain it. Yeah, that's a better idea. It almost looks like that was a nice replacement fender at one time. Still got the primer on it. At least the wheels turn. Not by hand, but they were when we rolled it. Oh, look at that. Fresh starter from January 8th of 2013. It only had 76,000 rounds on her. I have no idea what all... I'm guessing the fuel line's rotted out, so they just ran rubber. Of course. Why wouldn't you just get rid of the steel and put rubber? Aluminum bell housing, though. That's pretty neat.
How neat is that?
Well, I just spent the last 45 minutes of my life playing a meth head and stripping all the copper out of this thing. Look at this. They had, I don't know, some 2-aught or whatever, but it splices into 2 battery cables. You know, you got a couple 2 light gauge wires coming to an eyelet with a bolt going through it. Oh yeah, real classy. The remaining park brake cable had some clamps on it. I suppose that's from when they stretched the frame. I don't know what this fuel hose is, but it's way heavier than most fuel hose, and she's stiffer than a wedding you-know-what. And then this was just a bunch of other random fuel hose. This thing should have had a return style fuel pump on it. That's no longer on there. We did get the battery out, this Deca, date code J2. So J is the 10th letter of the alphabet, so that's October of 2012. So that battery is, what, 10 years old now? Just over. Well, look at that battery box. Man, that's some solid stuff. That's a good toe point. You can hook onto that, pull it out. This remaining wire going back, no, what's that one? Oh yeah, that's, I don't know, but like, really? Do we need a, you could hook this up to your neighbor's battery. I think that one's going back to the winch. Oh, is that one going to the starter? This one's going to the starter, though. I don't know. I think this one's going to the starter. And then the ground is right here. So you need a dual terminal. So this is the ground for the engine, side post. And this is the starter for the engine, which is a top post. Of course, I snapped that bolt off. And look at this. That cable wasn't long enough, so they got it all taped up. I'm guessing there's a couple of eyelets in there tied to one another. I don't know. We're gonna have to open that up and see what we got going on there. Ooh, it's got the Go Fast NOS engage switch on the old Stant radiator cap. And look at this, it's got the radiator that's got the outlet for the heater hose. Some engines only have one, and one's on the radiator. But anyway, they just took and stuck a pipe plug right into that guy. But they also plugged off, this is from an automatic transmission, it's got the tranny cooler lines. They plug those off, even though you don't need to, because you're just going to weep a little tranny fluid out of it if it's used. So that's just waiting to pop out of there. But I guess it's better than using a chunk of 5/8 heater hose and putting a piece of whittled down wood in there. Good stuff. Speaking of methods, I'm pretty sure a method put this thing together at one time. And then look at that heater hose. It's got a whole bunch of black tape around it, and it's way too long. I don't know why they couldn't just go from there A to B. They had to go swoop way down there to the frame, run across the inner fender. I don't know, it's probably rubbing through. That's probably why they put all that tape on there, but that's no bueno either. It doesn't have a clutch fan, which I think this engine should in 1978. We might have to scratch on that block and see if she's a true 78 350. It's probably a Corvette engine, no doubt. Oh, look at the PCB, or the breather going to the air cleaner. You know, just stick that filter in there and call her good. Just let her vent the atmosphere. Perfect. Oh yeah, and then look at the hood doesn't really have the square body kink. It's kind of wants to start. But look at how sloppy these hood hinges are. Let's put the Cyclops on it. They are sacked out. Sacagawea. Hey look, a homeless guy showed up.
What's going on, folks?
That's all, folks.
So you know how I thought there would be a bolt in here holding these together? They literally, this is the starter cable. It was all just taped together. You can see how it's gotten hot and melted the rubber sheathing off. They just fished it through the eyelet. And then just, I mean, at least put a cable clamp on there, you know, to get her good and tight. That's literally the entire connect. How did that not just burn through? Well, I guess we're going to be putting a new battery cable on, because I don't think, I mean, we'll pretty much do anything around here, but we are above that. You know, safety is third around here, but thermal incidents are not high on my priority list. I mean, we have them on a regular occurrence. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. We did have a nice one last week where I caught a bucket full of brake cleaner on fire when I was torching. Whoops. Small fire. Let's put it out with something flammable. Oh boy. Not going well. Oh yeah, kick it to the torch. Wow. I thought this had an eyelet and this had an eyelet and they were just been bolted together. This one you thought you'd seen it all. This thing is good. Also, I ran the numbers on the engine. It's V0801 TDB. So you look up the suffix, which is the last three letters, you know, opposite of prefix, on nastyz28.com. And it comes up as either a 1972 307, wah, 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 or a 1980 blank. So I figured the casting number should tell us if it's a 307 versus anything else. So we looked at the casting number on the back of the engine and it's 366245, which comes up as a 78 to 82 350 4-bolt main and a bow tie high nickel block. I have no idea what that means. V means it was built in Flint, Michigan. The water is better now, I've been told. Everybody likes to leave that comment that's from there. 08 means it is from August, and 01 means it's first. So August 1st, we don't know the year though. 1980, I guess, according to we know it's not a 72 because it's not the 307. So it's a 1980 350 4-bolt main high nickel block. So take that as you will. I don't know what the whole bow tie thing means, but oh look, it's got race car things. We got header gaskets used with cast iron manifolds. So I mean, pretty much they identify as headers, right? Oh, look at that. They even ran the bolt all the way through on the manifold down there, and instead of the 3/8 like it should be, it's a 5/16 bolt. This thing's, I mean, it would have just added to the whole plethora of trash here if it would have been a 307. So I guess we got ourselves a high nickel bow tie 350. Made my day. All right, I'm gonna go back underneath, pull this cable off, and we're gonna get a different one because that is not gonna cut it for us. Good stuff. I just had to show that to you because I thought you guys would be impressed. No, you're not? Yeah, me either. The more you look, the worse it gets. Look at this stack of washers between the power steering pump and the bracket going off the manifold. Don't worry, there's even more coming off the head, but at least they're mostly all the same size. You know, they ran out of this size of 3/8 washer, so they got some bigger diameter ones in there. The best is when they're, you know, all different staggered sizes and whatnot. Also, see that little tab there coming off the column? It's got an automatic column, so it identifies as having a 4 and a 3-speed, so it's basically a 12-speed, you know, trucker things. Check the dipstick, Jimmy. Oh yeah, it looks like it's about 2 quarts over full, so better than being empty, right? Yeah, not if it's coolant. Speaking of that, we should flip the knot switch and check the stamps. Can anybody tell me why these lever, what's is it relief the pressure or what's the deal there? Oh, she's plumb full and it's green, so that's good. What's the novelty behind these things? I think they're hideous. Is it like, you know, slingshot, engage, and that's when your rocket boosters come in, or what? I don't get it. Okay, back to that starter cable that I was gonna address. I just saw so many other great things under the hood here. I just wanted to share them with you because I'm so ecstatic. And to be honest, I'm downright disappointed that it doesn't have red or yellow spark plug wires on it. Oh, so glorious. We got Rims 1 as our battery sponsor this week. Go check these guys out. They offer all kinds of different wheel and tire packages for mainly late models and, you know, the 4-wheel drive crowd, stuff like that. But they do a lot of other fitment stuff. So if you've got, say, a 2008 Chevy 1500 4-wheel drive and you want some wheels and tires, they can tell you what's going to fit. You can get wheels, tires, whole package, lug nuts, everything ready to go. So check those guys out. Rims 1, RIMZONE. Took me a second. So shout out to those guys for sponsoring our battery this week. Got our new battery cable down there. It's a little bit long, but definitely not the story of my life. And it's a top post because I don't buy anything side post. I am starting to, I used to like the top post. I mean, I still kind of do, but these are nice because you just set them on there. You don't have to tighten the bolt up because I'm lazy. And that way, when it's on the side of the road and it's on fire, you can just rip it off with your hands and not watch your vehicle burn down because you don't have a wrench to take the battery cable off. Oh, we got to take the condom off there before we stick it in. Got to opposite. Oh, we got a buzzer. Why would the buzzer be going off? Blinkers are on. All right, let me grab a 9/16 to tighten that up. Okay, the blinkers flashing up here, so we know that's working. I would be willing to bet a case of sandwiches that the rear brinker wasn't that. The rear brinker is not working. All right, we got the custom loser switch hooked up. Let's see if this thing cranks. I do not have the fuel line hooked up, so we're not going to pull a bunch of crappy 2014 fuel out of the tank. She zings pretty good. Duff came running. He's like, is that thing going to fire up? No, Duff, it's not. All right, the key is on, obviously, because the blinker's working. Let me grab my spark tester. Since this has got HEI, we can't just pull the coil wire out of the distributor and see if we got spark. We actually got to put a spark plug in one of the spark plug wires, you know, test her out. The good news is I got a sweet tester for that, so I don't electrocute myself because I don't like getting electrocuted. I know you guys enjoy seeing it, so just because I'm not going to electrocute myself, Chin's going to put in some highlights of all the electrocution that I've done. Cheese and rice.
By the power of Grayskull.
Ow! Yep, it's got spark. Let's do it again. Ah! I don't know why it's shocking me. Son of a biscuit. So we just take this cute little guy. It's made by Mueller. I don't know who it is. Ignition tester. What is it by? Mueller. Bueller Electrical Company, Cleveland, Ohio, made in USA. This thing's vintage and it's good. What do we got for plug wires? Plug in Champions, good stuff. All right, here goes nothing. It's HEI, so it's gonna work unless it's got a bad module or no juice to it. Oh, we just had that 76 K20 that didn't work, but that was in the ignition switch. Oh yeah, she's sparking. So, now we just need to hook up our boat tank. We should be good to go. In theory. I didn't hear any rods trying to escape the side of the block, so that's a plus. That's the other great part about these studs being so long, is you get to spend a quarter of your life spinning the wing nut off. At least it's got a wing nut and not a hex nut, you know? That's something I hate almost as bad as Krager's. Guys who use hex nuts for their air cleaner hold downs. Nothing like wanting to see what's going on in your carburetor on the side of the road in the dark and you don't have a wrench to take it off. Alright, let's fill up the bowl on the old, I almost said quaderbog, edelbrock, Carter AFB knockoff. I do kind of like these carburetors even though they don't make much power. I'd say it's because they just downright work. And now it won't work, watch. All right, here we go. Slingshot, engage.
Slingshot engaged.
I think it's out of gear. Hopefully. So close. Got a lot of small block Chevy. HEI, edelbrock, just fires up, idles, no noises. All right, we gotta hook up a boat tank so we can run this thing longer. Better yet, let's just drain that fuel tank back there and see what we can get to happen. See what comes out of it. It should be fine, it's only 10-year-old gas, right? Sounds good. What do you think? Runs pretty good, huh, pal? Ready to go for a ride? Oh yeah. We're getting close. We should probably get some wheels back on the front and maybe a fuel tank and some brakes. Let's hope the fronts work. We just pinch out the rears, right? Can I get a nod of an approval? I know we're not gonna get a thumbs up. So now that we've got our tank out, I think they just had the return plugged, and I don't know, ideally wouldn't you want that to be used as a vent? I don't know. Looks like when they replaced the tank, they did put some new straps on it. They were not utilizing all the bolts. There was only 2 back here, and you can use up to 4, but there's only 3 back here. Anyway, I'm not surprised. They did put a new hose on it when they put that tank in there. Anyway, let's blow this off and pull that sending unit out, see what it looks like in there, and then we'll probably suck all the fuel out that's in there. Put it in a 5-gallon bucket and totally dispose of it properly, Greta. I think we would have had some problems there. Also, use the right size hose clamps. I mean, Is it that hard to just go to the parts store or buy a nice assortment of them? They're not that expensive. I mean, this is like a 5/8 heater hose or 3/4 heater hose clamp, and it's on a 3/8 fuel line. And then, you know, double clamping it, that really makes stuff happen. And poor quality hose clamps, they get to me too. This is like not trimming off your zip ties. You know, you can take your side cutter and trim that off too, just like a zip tie. All right, enough ranting. Man, just buy an 8-inch hose clamp and just use it for everything. It's kind of like an 8-inch zip tie, just one size fits all. All right, I'm gonna blow that off first so we don't get dirt in our allegedly nice new tank. I hope it looks as good on the inside as it does on the outside. Wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah. Quick blow job here. Let's get rid of these hideous hose clamps first thing, and those crappy hoses. Curiosity's getting the best of me. I gotta see what they used to splice in here. Any guesses? Is it just a chunk of steel line? No chance in HE double hockey sticks that it's like a piece of nice barbed brass. I will eat those certs from that 1964 Impalafordo hardtop video, if that's what it is. Oh yeah, just a regular chunk of steel line like they should have used to run the entire length of the frame rail instead of rubber. Good guess. Par for the course with everything else going on here. I'm half surprised it wasn't. Do they make pipes that small? 1/8-inch pipe, maybe? Pretty sure we're gonna fill a dumpster with trash we cut off of this by the time it's all said and done. Well, das sock looks good. Seal ain't all torn up. How much dirt can we knock in there? Oh yeah. She looks flawless. Minus a little bit of the dirt I dropped in there. This fuel would probably burn, but we're not gonna risk it for the biscuit. I'm gonna go get the clickety-clack and some rubber hose and a approved disposal bucket. And should be great. All right, let's try something here that we saw on the old Instagram reel. You put your hose in there. You know, this is for stealing gas for when it gets back up to $8 a gallon. You got a little hole, a little slit cut in the rubber hose there. I don't know what this is called. Capillary action, siphon action, action Jackson, magic. I don't know what it's called. I'm sure there's a scientific term for it. And you're probably commenting it right below or screaming at the screen right now. I mean, that slit's a little bit bigger. But anyway, the theory is, if you blow air in there, I wish I had a different blow gun, but I don't. It's supposed to, you know, just bring the gas out of there. Holy crap. It works. Kind of. I would use a spark, and I've created a flamethrower. I was kind of hoping it would like create a siphon, and I wouldn't have to blow the whole time, but oh! Yeah. Doesn't work as well as it did on the Instagram. So, tell me what I did wrong there. All right, back to using the clickety-clack. Well, let's hope there's not more than 5 gallons in there. Or we'll just have to go grab another 5-gallon bucket. Or, I mean, we could dispose of this properly and refill said bucket. That's a better idea. I wonder if that Polaris engine would burn this stuff. I don't want to find out because I don't know how to put an injector in that thing. Nor do I want to learn. All right, got our fuel tank back together, new hoses, new clamps, properly sized even. I took that return line and I put a breather on it. I don't know if that's the way to do it, if I should have just capped it off, but we'll figure it out. There's probably a breather built into the cap, but anyway, it seemed like the right thing to do. I put the same amount of hardware back in because those holes don't line up with anything. So I don't know if those brackets are off of a regular cab, no, not a cabin chassis, but a box pickup or what, but 5 bolts, that should be 5 3/8 bolts. That should be plenty enough to hold that tank up there. I think it's what, only a 16-gallon tank, 18-gallon. But now we're gonna run a new fuel line. I took the old stuff out of there, took all the clamps out of there, so on and so forth. And we're gonna run some new steel line. Also, go check out the old car guy. We haven't given him a shout out in quite a while. He just sent me this shirt. It's a nice shirt. Well, it was until I started wearing it and got her all dirty. But yeah, he's got a channel. He's got a squarebody named Dale, and he's got I don't know, some Mopar, the Cordoba with the rich Corinthian leather. Oh, I need another sandwich. And he's got some late model Grand Marquis, the Panther chassis Ford stuff, and yada, yada, yada. But go check him out. Go leave a comment on one of his videos. Say, Mortske sent me over here. And give him a like and a follow and comment and all that. But anywho, I got a roll of 3/8 steel line here that I must have had for another project. But I like to keep this stuff on hand because, you know, when you're putting LSs in 63 Impalas or running a new saddle tank on your square body green truck. Well, that's got a 427. We should probably put 1/2-inch line because that's going to really suck the fuel. But anyway, we're going to straighten this out and we're going to fisher along that frame rail. And then we're only going to have a little rubber chunk going between the tank and this line and between the fuel pump and this line. So just like GM did her from the factory, only it's not going to be as pretty, but it's going to be pretty good. Good enough for the girls we go with, right? All right, let's slide her in there. Well, we're back in the shop today, ain't we, Duff? It's a balmy 15 degrees Fahrenheit below zero, so the furnace is not shut off all day. So you guys are just gonna have to listen to that. As a side note, you can watch Duff's tail wiggle if you watch real close. Like, oh yeah, we just disposed of 2 mice when I got here. So yeah. By the way, these Nest mousetrap thinger catchers are the best because you could stuff as many in there as you want until they start to stink, and then you're like, oh, we should probably empty that, and there's just a bunch of them there instead of resetting traps. It's a pretty neat design. I think they're made in Iowa. Not a paid promotion. So Dale from Guelph, he noticed these eyebrows yesterday. He thought those were pretty neat. And then when Chin was here, now we got the compressor going too. I did dump gas in before I left the other night, so this thing's pretty much ready to fire up, but because it's so cold out, I'm not gonna open the door to fire it up, so we're gonna fix some brakes first. I don't know if you guys can see it on the camera. Chin noticed this. There's a nice scallop that goes right here and down like that. So this thing was pretty swanky in its day. I don't know what color the scallops were, what color the rest of the rig was at that time, but good eye on Chin for that. This thing is the cat's pajamas. I know the mouse probably came out of this thing. He was properly relocated. All right, I'm gonna get this thing in the air, and I think we're gonna check the brakes and see if we can get the fronts working, and then figure out what we gotta do for a line, how many splices we got, and what we gotta replace, because we're gonna be hauling big loads with this thing. We better get those rear brakes working. Also, the scallop, it's not the potato kind like you're probably gonna have at Thanksgiving. Christmas is coming. I'm gonna mess with brakes. I would say there's about a 0.01% chance the rear reservoir is full. Well, it'll be the front reservoir for the rear brakes. Oh my word. Sure enough, bone dry. Ew. That's the good stuff. Not the Napa good stuff either. Clean that out a little bit before we put fluid in there. The reservoir for the front brakes is full. Ugh. Not quite as sludgy. Good enough for the girls we go with. All right, I'm gonna crack some bleeders up front here. So we got fluid down there. And then we're gonna run a new line for the rear. And then we're gonna bleed some brakes. You know, the thing. So it looks like there's only about 3 splices back here, which from the factory they had several splices. I think it's because 1/4 inch, not 3/16. I think they had splices just because they use the same chunk of line for a whatever cabin chassis and all the different wheelbases, and then just put a separate chunk in there for however long that wheelbase is. Anyway, it's been replaced up there. It's been replaced back here. I think this section might be original, but either way, she's been modified. And I don't like splices, partly because those little splices are like $9 a piece, and you can get like 10 feet of line for that. So why not just run line the whole way? Plus it's one less spot for it to leak. The only good thing is if the line ever rusts out, you only got to replace that section versus the whole thing. But here's our issue, where this line goes into this hose. This hose is trashed, and it's not going to be repairable. So I'm going to take this hose off and see if we can figure something out. Also, these lines going to the wheel cylinders have been replaced. You can tell by the way that they are.
You can tell that it's an aspen tree because of the way it is.
Because they're way too long and they don't conform to the rear end. This thing's seen some salt. This side's same way. We should just come down here and follow the axle tube and then go right in. At least they're in good shape. So I'm gonna pull this line off, hose. I'm gonna play with my hose, story of my life. Anyway, back to work. So here's what we got going on for brakes here. Never mind the cookies that Mojo's wife brought over for me. So start at the front. We're gonna go from the proportioning valve, which they had this great big adapter to neck it down to whatever the Napa 1/4 inch line had. These kits that I get, I don't know where I get them. eBay, Amazon, something like that. This is the copper nickel stuff. I'm not sold on it, but whatever, it works. It's the only reason I got it is because it's cheaper than the regular stuff. But it comes with all these different ends. And it's got the right end in there, so I can throw this adapter in my brake fitting kit, which I highly recommend if you do much of this. Get yourself one of these little tackle boxes and throw your stuff in there. I'm always digging in this thing. And then I found the 67 to 72 Ford rear brake hose, because of course I didn't have one for a 78 Chevy C30. But this is for 3/16 line, and I don't have an adapter to go from 3/16 line up to 1/4 inch line. I can go the other way. I can go from a 3/16 line to a 1/4 inch hose. So we're gonna have to get some of those adapters. This would have worked out pretty dang good. Instead of coming out straight out the side, this fitting comes out at an angle, but you guys remember the lines on that differential, and they're hot garbage anyway, so we can bend those around. But that didn't work. So then I got this mystery hose. Oh, never mind, it's a 72 C30, so it must have been for the ramp truck. Usually when I buy these hoses, they're like $6 or $8 on Rock Auto, and you know, Puddin complains about the shipping, so I take advantage of it. And when you're ordering from them anyway, it doesn't cost much more to ship another one, so these things are less than 10 bucks a piece usually. So I order extras so that I can use them in such occasions as this. In a pinch, I don't have to run anywhere, because like I said, the nearest parts store is 15 miles, and they're not going to have one anyway, so then you got to wait a couple days, especially when there's a storm like we're having. So anyway, C30, but it didn't have the T on the end, so I went in my brake fitting kit, and I found a T that's set up for 1/4 inch line. The end of this is set up for 1/4 inch, so we're going to use this little fitting, and then to this guy. So we're going to stretch this out about 18 feet. I measured it. Of course, I got about a 15-foot roll there. That's going to be 3 foot short, and we're not going to have any splices, so I think these are 50 footers, something like that. 25, I don't know. There's the part number. X0, yeah, anyway. It's the Moo brake kit. Good 14. Oh, it's new, just so you know. But that's what we're gonna do. A C30 rear brake hose with one of these adapters on there. And then we're gonna have the right fitting on the front, so we got rid of that adapter up there, right fitting on the back. We're gonna get rid of at least 2 splices that I saw underneath. And everything's gonna be great. It's gonna work grand, wonderful.
Good, great, grand, wonderful.
Other than the fact that that thing's been rusted out for quite some time. So there hasn't been any rear brakes, so I'm sure the rear wheel cylinders are shot. This will all be new, and I'm gonna order some C30 rear brake hoses, 78s, so that we can get rid of the coupler, whatever, get rid of that, whatever, splitter, adapter thinger, and then I can put that back in my kit, and we can put this brake hose back on the wall. But anyway, that'll get rid of one leak point for us. And I'll probably just give up on this truck and throw them all up on the shelf and never use them. But anyway, we'll get one coming. So, I'm gonna straighten out some line, and we're gonna flare some ends, fisher down the frame rail, all that fun stuff. Bada bing, bada boom. Brakes. Yay. There you have it, folks. A whole new rear brake system. Well, not all new, but we got a new line, a new hose. Never mind the fact that I put the wrong hose and tee on the first time around. But yeah, she's all patched up, ready to go. Like I said, this is not the right hose. She's obviously a little bit too long. It's gonna work for all intents and the purposes. All right. What should we do next, Duff? Tell you what, that furnace blaring right at me is not only loud, but it is warm right here. Which beats the alternative. Now we gotta clean up our mess, put our fittings away, organize them, pick up our tools, put our unused brake hoses back. And my favorite part, stripping out the old brake lines and stealing these couplers off them. Splices, what have you. And then we'll throw those in my collection of fittings. Another pet peeve of mine, because I don't have enough of them. Take the old lines off. I know they're great to tie your new line to, but it's just all jumbled up in there, and these lines obviously rusted out for a reason, so you leave these lines in there that are already rusty, and they're just gonna collect more dirt and more rust, and then they're gonna rot out your new stuff. So take an extra 15 minutes, probably not even that, 5, and rip the old lines out. I mean, you gotta take the clamps off that are retaining it to clamp your new lines in place, so there you go. Rant over. You know what really grinds my gears?
You know what really grinds my gears? Those X-ray specs you used to buy out of the comics.
All right, so we got our new line ran to the rear brakes, brake hose in there. I can't get them bled because there's about this much room to get a wrench in there for a bleeder, so I think I'm gonna have to order a long, special 5/16" wrench, short of dropping the rear end down, because the leaf springs and the bleeder are about this far apart. And I'm guessing those rear master wheel cylinder thingermabobbers are shot as well, since how they haven't had fluid in them for who knows how long. It's 20 degrees below zero right now, so the sandblasters are not running to blast our wheels, so I scrounged up some other wheels. There may be another motorhome coming in the future. Check that video out if you haven't on the last one. I borrowed a 16.5 spare off the back of that. And this thing came with a spare, so I stuck a tube in that, got that on the other side. It's running off the fuel tank. It runs pretty good, but it doesn't want to stay running, so I got the idle cranked way up. I'm guessing that edelbrock needs a kit, just cleaned up. I'm guessing one of the idle jet passageways is plugged up or something. Who knows? It does run off its own key and fuel source, so that's great. Duff's checking out underneath to make sure we got all the fluids. The furnace is not going to shut off today, being 20 below, because it's so cold. Yesterday was only like 13 below and it ran all day, so sound quality is going to suck. We're not going to go down the road very far with this thing because Pookie's going to try to buy a couple quarters of land, so he's not going to be here to save us. So he's financially irresponsible, well, or more responsible because he's buying land and not crappy old cars. And I don't want to walk home in 20 below zero more, or try to have to grab something to fetch this thing up. I think we're just going to go outside and take it for a lap around the yard. Maybe try to whip some donuts in a 25-foot long. It's got to be longer than that. It's long.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Maybe unload those cedar posts doing donuts or green sheet or whatever they are. And maybe even pressure wash this thing because the paint is just flaking off of it. And I always kind of like to look at those speckled concrete floors. You know, I could just visualize how it is by just pressure washing this thing. Who knows? We'll see how the test drive goes first. It's a 4-speed. Provided the clutch isn't full of mouse house, it should drive. We never really showed you the interior, but there's not much to see. I mean, it's a square body. Duff, wanna go for a ride in this thing? Yeah? All right, sounds good. I'll get the camera set up. You grab the door clicker. You don't even need a thumb to push the clicker. All right, let's do this. On a side note, we got 3 mice yesterday. 2 in the traps, and one of them was in my jacket. When I went to lunch, took my jacket off, and a mouse run down my shoulder. That'll make it pee a little bit. Don't worry. We safely rehold them. If you don't do a little bit better job of mousing around here, you might have to get a cat. You want to get a cat for a friend? That's what I thought. Me either. All right. What up? This is plush red interior. Yeah, it smells like mouse crap, I know. Slide rear window, a lot of good that does with that expanded metal behind it. Beer cans just bounce right back in. Okay, come on now. I gotta drive. No factory tack. What is the dinger about? Fasten seatbelts. Now it's idling. We got 40 pounds of oil pressure at idle. It's nothing to scoff at. Uh-oh. And I'm guessing the clutch is stuck. Yep. We're good at that. We just put it in gear and then we start it. Well, scratch that idea. We got a jacker up. I did hit the brake pedal a couple times. So maybe that applied the brakes. No, they don't want to unapply, so I guess I'm going to jack this thing up in the air and see if we can't get a caliper loose. Or maybe, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe the brake hose is collapsed. I know. Awesome. Chevys just want to run, they just don't want to move. I mean, it wants to move, but the brakes don't want to unmove. Awesome. Okay, hold on, just let me take care of it. You gonna show the people what you found? So this side, well, neither side was turning, to be honest, but crack the bleeder on that side, it turns, so that tells me it's the brake hose that's collapsed. And as the fluid goes through, you got all that pressure, goes through, it applies pressure, but the fluid can't go back because the hose is keeping pressure on it. So this side, I tried cracking the bleeder. Guess what that did? Yeah, you guessed it. It snapped off. So then we just cracked the banjo bolt right there. You got the pressure off of there. Now I can turn it with a bar, but I can't turn it by hand or by foot. Oh, it budged a little bit. Anyway, I just got to remember not to hit the brakes, because on this ice, they're not going to want to turn anyway. I'm going to have to rock her back and forth in the shop a few times before we even go outside, because once it starts skidding on ice, or you don't have the friction of the ground to keep them rolling, because you got ice, you know, the coefficient of friction out there, engineering terminology. And then plus you got the ice underneath the two rear tires that want to spin, because it's a dually. It's not a posi, it's just a dually. So two tires probably on this side are just going to spin on the ice. So that's not going to be good. So we should probably get some new calipers and hoses and pads and all that stuff coming for this thing. But we're running out of time. Christmas is coming. We got a short week here. Short week of editing, yada, yada, yada. And we're not going to get parts in time. So we're going to take her for a spin as is. Let me throw this wheel back on and we'll get back in the cab. See what we can do. Let's try rocking her back and forth a little bit. See if that works to loosen them up. Just rocking it, Barb. Oh, seatbelt wasn't very annoying. Mojo's here. Duff's giving him a good morning. Bark. Well, it seems better. I just got to remember not to hit the brakes. Should be easy, right? Easier said than done. I think I'd be an expert at driving things without brakes by now. I don't know that you ever get good at it. Ah, we're just going around the block. I ain't leaving the yard. It's a long, cold walk home. I got one in here. You got one? Yeah. Okay. Put her in gear before we start. I think the clutch loosened up, but it does run pretty decent. I mean, why wouldn't it? Edelbrock. Duff, for some reason your camera doesn't want to stay on today. So the Duff cam might be a little bit lacking. There you go, Duff cam back in action. Seems like she drives all right, other than the no brake part. And the fuel gauge is pegged to about 140% fuel. No voltages. Temp is staying at cold. Imagine that, because it is. Got a little hesitation. Definitely needs an accelerator pump. I thought the nice part about this weather would be that square body steering wheels wouldn't get sticky, but it's not the case. It's still sticky. Maybe it's because we brought it inside though. Well, anybody ever done a donut in a 2-mile long ramp truck? That's right, we're trying it here. Hang on, pal. Oh yeah, she's coming around. We're halfway. And that's the extent of a donut. First ramp truck donut on the internet. Just kidding. I'm sure a million people have done it before. This thing ain't too bad. It just needs some rust repair, some electrical repair, you know, the lights in the back, some exhaust. Speedo is not working. Fuel gauge is not working. Oil pressure, the only mechanical gauge in there is working. So, you know, we got that going for us. All right, I think that's gonna wrap it. I'm gonna find somewhere to park this thing where there's not a snowbank and probably leave it till spring, unless we decide to drag it back home. Maybe we'll order some brake parts. What's a good way to clean up these steering wheels? Comment that down below. It's cold. We got things to do, things to work on. If you want to own this thing, hit us up. Price and availability is in the video description. Hit us up with an email, mortskerepair@gmail.com. You're probably not going to drive it home, or maybe, depending on your mechanical aptitude. I get a lot of people asking that, could you drive it home? And I'm like, I don't know, can you? I could drive it home, but I'm an idiot, and that's part of the reason why I would make it home. I don't know if I'd make it home, but I would try. Check out the merchandise link down below. Get yourself some merch for you or yourself. Everybody, hope had a happy and safe Christmas. Oh, go check out Mortske Repair on the Facebook. we got ourselves on Mortske Repair Facebook. It's got all these cars for sale, like that Chevy van and the Chevy Nomad and the Snutch green truck. I don't know what else is on there, but yeah, there's stuff on there for sale. And yeah, we appreciate the comments, even the negative ones. I really enjoy the negative ones. If you want to see entertaining conversations via YouTube, go check out the first comments on any of my videos. Not any of them, but many of them. People like to leave not so nice comments, and Duff and I like taking advantage of that by pinning that comment and just letting you guys take care of the trash. So I appreciate you guys for taking the trash out. Yeah. All right, on to the next one. Remember, it's cold out, so we're gonna do the outro in the cab. Remember, it doesn't matter how you get it done, as long as you're having fun. I think ramp trucks are fun, don't you, Duff? What are you staring at over there? Is there a squirrel in that tree? Oh, there's a bunch of snow over there I gotta move. Don't get your hopes up about the Buick Roadmaster Roadhouse worst purchase ever, because we're not working on that one. Okay, we gotta get back to work. Okay, see you later.